I don't know about you all, but I'm settling in for a long winter's nap now.
Yeah. I'm with you, Steve. With you. 100. John might be going to sleep now.
It's between Christmas and New Year's. Oh. You should be out celebrating, although we appreciate that you're listening or watching Two Noobs Talking. This is episode 169. We're on vacation, technically, so this isn't live or anything, but you get to see some of our best stuff from 2023. We had some really fun times. I'm thinking about breastfeeding in a lazy river, hot dogs. I don't know. Nice. What was your favorite part of it? Yeah. What was your favorite clip this season, gents?
Definitely the National Hot Dog Council. They were crazy. They were absolutely insane. Yeah. How dare they strike ketchup from the condiment menu? How
dare they protest outside their office?
How dare they?
Two of my favorites being the bull in the car and the people after my own heart of laziness were like tired of walking to the end of the Great Wall of China. Just gonna bulldoze right through it.
That works.
Love them.
Love it.
Well, you folks are gonna get to hear all of that coming up here on episode 169 while you let us get on with our own personal business, of which we're not going to tell you. So, without further ado, Happy New Year to you all, and start the music.
Oh boy.
One being the self-interested, selfie-taking person, and two being the government official abusing power. And it's just a fascinating intersection of the two that goes along with John dropping his phone.
Just love it.
Yeah. CNN article, people. Indian official drains reservoir to retrieve phone dropped while taking selfie.
This is not one for the weird file. Not at all.
Not for the weird file. This is for the complete tool file.
Yeah, exactly.
A government official in India who drained a reservoir to retrieve a phone he dropped while taking a selfie has been suspended from his job. All right, that's a positive already. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
More than 2 million liters of water were pumped out of the Paralkot reservoir over a period of 4 days in an effort to retrieve the Samsung handset belonging to Rajesh Vishwas, a local food inspector. Vishwas had been out with friends last Sunday afternoon when it slipped from his grasp at the scenic spot in the central Indian state of, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce it.
Comment down below.
There are consonants next to each other and no chance.
Yep.
In a video statement shared by the Indian Express, Vishwas said he rented a diesel pump to, quote, drain some water into a nearby canal in an effort to retrieve the phone, and that he did this after asking permission from a subdivisional officer.
Bullshit.
He also said that he had asked others at the reservoir to try to retrieve the phone, but they had been unable to reach it as there was too much water. His version of events is at odds with that of his employer, who suspended him on the grounds of misusing his position, noting he had wasted millions of liters of water at a time of severe heat. His suspension order, seen by CNN, also claims that Vishwas did not receive permission to drain the water. In his video statement, however, Vishwas insists the water he drained was from the overflow section of the dam and not in usable condition. I don't even know. John, you've got her hand raised. Go ahead.
John, go for it. Yeah.
The thing that gets me about me. How much is a Samsung phone, right?
Probably $1,000.
Yeah, $700, $800,
$900, something like that. Yeah.
Now put that to the cost of the diesel pump to rent. Probably similar in price.
I would think.
I mean, you're talking about 2 million liters of water. You need a pretty big pump for that. Why not just
for 4 days?
Yeah. See the phone? I'm just gonna go get another one. He's so douchey.
You don't understand, John. You don't understand. There's so many photos that are saved on this phone, damn it.
It's called the cloud, Matt. You can save them to the cloud, for God's sake.
You don't understand, Steve.
I'm pretty sure.
Have your phone automatically back up itself.
Yes. I'm pretty sure with the technology. I had an iPhone. Now I have a Samsung. I went to the thingy and the guy put something together and he said, hey, look, all your information's on your new phone. I went, okay, cool. I don't have to do anything. It's not,
there you
it's
go.
not like
I don't
those.
have to drain the reservoir for it.
Yes, exactly. I don't have to starve children just because I drive a phone.
Oh my gosh. This is just like, I would love to know what caused him to lose the grip on his cell phone. That's my question. Because it clearly shows in this article that he did lose his grip on the phone while taking the selfie. So my question is, what do you think caused it, gents? What do you think? Was it just, and he just dropped it like out of like that? Yeah. Or was it just like,
he's an idiot.
Click,
That's what
and he
happened.
dropped it? Like, I don't know, what was it? What do you think? Kind of like one of those
completely
two?
agree with you. It's a fumble.
Fumble.
It happens to even the most sure-handed of us.
Mm-hmm.
There you
My
go.
problem is, unlike the numbskulls out in like Yellowstone who are like, hey, look at me taking a picture with a bison. Or on, I've scaled Kilimanjaro. Let me live stream this to my peeps.
Because I got Wi-Fi.
Or you're having a hundreds of $1,000 lunch on a big old balloon up in the stratosphere in France.
Exactly.
And you drop the phone.
Unlike those scenarios, this is like, hey guys, check me out by the reservoir.
Welcome to Joe Biden's China.
That isn't the
truth. Oh my god. That'll sing some people.
Time magazine article. I guess it's Time magazine, even though it's online.
So.
Yeah.
China arrests 2 construction workers for smashing a shortcut through the Great Wall.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you go through a shortcut in the Great Wall if you had the opportunity?
No.
If it already existed, I would not make my own.
Okay.
Especially in communist China. I feel like that's a good move.
What you're talking about, John?
I feel like that's a good move.
Yeah. I mean, forget the guy, the fitness numbnuts who scratched his initials into the Colosseum. This is is something else. China's Great Wall has been pierced by Genghis Khan, the Manchus, and now allegedly, dude, you have to make everything sexual.
I'm sorry.
Especially when it comes to Genghis Khan.
George Takei makes it sexual, not me. I'm just sitting here minding my own business.
Oh, now we're playing with George Takei. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, now, allegedly, a couple of construction workers named Zhang and Wang, way to, promote the Chinese stereotypical names time, who wanted a shortcut. Authorities in China arrested 2 people for smashing a path through a section of the ancient wall, a cultural icon and United Nations protected heritage site.
Wow.
The area of the breach was a broken down section far from the restored segments most Chinese and foreign tourists are familiar with. State media showed a dirt road cut through a wall against a rural landscape in Yuyu County, hundreds of kilometers west of Beijing, and identified the suspects as a 38-year-old man surnamed Zhang and a 55-year-old woman surnamed Wang. The pair wanted a shorter route for some construction work they were doing in nearby towns, the report said.
Wow.
The system of towers and connecting walls stretches approximately 8,850 kilometers, or 5,500 miles for us normal folk.
There you go.
Built mainly during the Ming Dynasty that lasted until 1644. John, have you ever desecrated centuries-old monuments to make your work easier?
Absolutely not. Never would even think about it. That's why these stories just crack me up, and I have to send them to you guys because this is ridiculous. Like, I understand it was broken down. I understand that it was far away, but it's the same old lazy excuse. Oh, it doesn't matter. Because I'm
AI told me to do
I'm
this.
just gonna knock through it because it makes my life easier. Forget everybody else.
AI, John. AI told him to get this way beyond the
I don't
wall.
think they allow AI in China.
That's
the
true.
app is telling me I should drill a hole through that wall.
It's like
I wonder if this wall means something.
It's like the great Google thing. If you Google from New York City to China, it'll tell you to rent a jet ski and go across the Atlantic. It's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's just it's so lazy. It's everything that we've covered over the past month and a half. The idiot politician that drained a reservoir that people needed drinking water. An idiot that rode on the Coliseum. Oh, I didn't know it was that old. I wouldn't have rode on it if it was that old. These people knew what the fuck it was, and they still were like, fuck it. Just right through it. They didn't even have a good excuse. They were like, we just needed to go there. That's why we did it.
The local Wawa was right over there. I had to get over there.
It's the Great Wall of China. But my work, the amount of work it took to get through the wall is probably just as much as it would take to walk around the end and get to the other side.
Apparently, from what I've learned, is it was falling apart. So they weren't knocking the full wall down. But the other thing is,
just helping
I also learned there are places that you're supposed to go to cross so they know who's on one side and who's on the other. Like it's kind of like the border. It's kind of like a Joe Biden border. Like they just want to go through instead of going around. Like just they could have went and met a nice person that would have told them, hey, you need to go that way.
The only difference is in Joe Biden's America, you don't get shot. That's the only thing. In China, you do get shot.
Yeah, the article is very unclear as to the fate of these two people.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they've disappeared. Don't worry about that.
Never seen them.
That's not even their names, dude. That's not even their names. They were swept up. We'll never see these people ever again.
Look at it. You never know.
Double-decker airplane seats could let travelers fart directly in your face.
That's not the headline article I have, sir. But,
how much does the headline guy make at Yahoo Finance? That's what I want to know. We need to look that up.
Seriously.
He needs more.
Yeah.
As greedy airlines have continued to shrink the legroom for economy flyers, one 23-year-old designer named Alejandro Nunez Vicente thinks he has the best solution for everyone involved: double-decker airliner seating. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Nunez Vicente calls his innovation the Chaise Lounge Economy Seat, and its stacked design allows passengers on the bottom row to fully extend their legs. In turn, the top row gets to more or less fully recline. Seats on the lower row can also fold for greater accessibility. There's just a few pretty big caveats, though. As many a jokester has pointed out, the arrangement means the top passenger's buttocks will be directly leveled at unfortunate travelers in the bottom row.
That is problem number one.
And we're going to flash a picture of this right up on the screen here so you can see it.
Yep.
So you better hope they don't pass any gas. But in a recent interview with the, what did you call it? The Crayon newspaper?
Crayon, the newspaper world.
Crayon, newspaper world, USA Today. Nunez Vicente definitely assuaged those fart fears. To directly quote the outlet, the idea is that there will be some kind of restraint here.
Oh my.
Pointing to the partition behind the upper level of seats. If a passenger passed gas, it wouldn't go straight through unless it were especially forceful.
Yeah, I don't see that being rectified. But anyway, go on.
Of course, that in and of itself would be a fantastic invention just on a regular, everyday basis if we could suppress farts that are not especially forceful.
Yeah.
Although they haven't been around certain people after spicy food. John.
Yes.
Not to mention baked beans.
Yeah. Your thoughts on this design here? Like, what the hell?
This doesn't make me think that flying is going to be any more comfortable than it already is. This design, it's creepy.
You don't like ass to face design? What the
It's
heck?
just not like. I don't even want to have someone in front of me or back of me on an airplane. Just reorganizing them doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't make for. Then you got to get.
Don't see it. Yeah.
You got to get out of that chair. Like, so I get that chair, right? So I get the fart. I get the fart in that person's face, but in boarding, then I got to jump down off of my own chair that you've designed for me, so I'm more comfortable. I don't understand.
Yeah.
They didn't make airplanes any bigger. I don't understand how reorganizing the seats are going to make it any more comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, there are some other drawbacks other than the chaise lounge's dystopian appearance and indeed fart-facing setup. Its added height means that overhead storage compartments are a no-go, ergo less room to store things. So that added legroom, it might just be eaten up by baggage. Plus, while bottom row passengers get easier access to the anus, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my.
To the aisle.
Top row flyers will have to, as John said, sacrifice their own accessibility, requiring 2 big steps to climb up.
Oh.
To be fair, though, Nunez Vicente maintains that he envisions only one side of the plane being taken up by the chaise lounge and the other side keeping a normal seating arrangement, offering, in his mind, the best of both worlds. Those trade-offs aside, Nunez Vicente says his design will appeal to airlines because of its efficient use of space. For airlines whose bottom line is a higher head count without needing a larger plane, it could just be the solution no one is asking for. Matt, your thoughts on the design?
Yeah, I see this potentially working for international flights. Maybe like if you're flying from, let's just say, Los Angeles out to Hawaii, or going all the way over to Japan and back, as a potential solution. You know, in case you don't have to sit all in the one row, all that kind of stuff in the big, large Boeings. For a commercial flight domestically, no, this will not fly. It will not. It's just, I foresee a lot of problems. I foresee a lot of really the problems I see are really boarding and getting off the plane. I mean, other than that, they're fine. You know, in that regard. You're asking people.
It's already a zoo deboarding a plane. Now you're gonna have people jumping into the pile from the top rope.
That's gonna be great.
Precisely. Brilliantly said. Couldn't have said it any better, Steve, really. I mean, and that's really the big issue. Everybody complains about both the onboarding and the deboarding process of planes. How is the double deckers essentially going to solve that particular problem? We already know.
It doesn't. Yeah. It solves nothing other than sticking someone higher than somebody else and losing your overhead.
Yeah.
So now you can't work. Now you can't. You can bring your work on the plane, but you can't bring a quick bag for a quick jaunt to another state where you're not going to need your house. You're just going to need a couple things for a couple days. Now you can't do that.
Years ago, maybe plus.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure that my fantasy report is not. Okay, no, I'm good. Okay.
You're good? You're good? Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes I just walk into the store and I just grab.
There you go.
And the only reason I grabbed this one, Jalen Hurts was on the cover, and I'm in Texas, and I was like, oh, win!
Which one is that?
It's Lindy Sports.
Oh, Lindy Sports. Okay.
Yeah.
I've had sporting news versions.
Oh, there you go.
This is my typical go-to fantasy football.
Move that over.
That is a good one. Yeah, if you're a big fantasy guy and you don't use that book, you should use that book. That's a good one. I use their website.
Fantasy Football Index, absolutely.
Fantasy Football Index, good stuff. Sports Illustrated, on the other hand, not so much.
No. Do not use any they talk about.
They have quite fallen from grace.
I'd say.
I guess Matt, who came across? No, it was me. Wait.
Yeah, it was you.
Somebody. It was me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Came across this futurism article. Apparently, Sports Illustrated has been posting articles by fake AI-generated writers. So here's a bio for one Drew Ortiz that previously appeared on the Sports Illustrated website. Drew has spent much of his life outdoors and is excited to guide you through his never-ending list of the best products to keep you from falling to the perils of nature. Nowadays, there is rarely a weekend that goes by where Drew isn't out camping, hiking, or just back on his parents' farm.
That just sounds so phony and made up.
There's a big problem,
doesn't it,
with this?
And why is it in the third person? Like, I don't quite understand that. Like,
well, I mean, that's not unusual for a bio.
I guess.
Yeah,
but
that's a standard bio. I mean, it seems very fake because nobody is that on point.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Except for Drew's alcoholism and his hatred of squirrels. Like, that should be in there somewhere.
The reason he's out camping every weekend is to get away from his miserable home life.
Exactly.
But the abusive wife, dog, parents, whatever.
But here's a problem. His profile photo is for sale on a website that sells AI-generated headshots, where he's described as neutral white young adult male with short brown hair and blue eyes.
See, we were on to something.
Oh my.
And Drew Ortiz's articles were a little, shall we say, strange. Mm-hmm. Here's a quote from one of them. Volleyball can be a little tricky to get into, especially without an actual ball to practice with.
I have figured out the Jalen Hurts hate. It's all AI bots.
It's all AI bots. There you go, Johnny.
It has to be.
Right on. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah.
At least one person involved in the creation of Sports Illustrated content has said, as I get a visitor.
Yeah.
The content written by Drew Ortiz is absolutely AI generated, no matter how much they say it's not.
Wow.
Journalistic integrity just out the window, eh, gents?
I guess so.
I mean,
but why are we surprised at this either, really?
I don't think we are, but...
No. Yeah.
No,
we're not.
We all are journalism fans.
We are?
Well, we can't... Yeah.
Look who you're talking to over here.
But what I'm saying, we enjoy the good people that do sports journalism. We have a high respect for the elder age of yes. That's what I'm talking. Like we grew up with good. I'm not surprised Sports Illustrated did this at all.
Yeah.
But it's spitting in the face of people like Pat Summerall, John Madden, Ray Didinger.
Yeah.
Dick Emmerich. I can't even a billion.
Doc Emmerich. Yeah.
Like everybody, everybody we grew up with, like watching college football or football, or it just spits in the face of actual journalism.
You could even say Stan Hochman from way back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, he was decent.
Love Stan Hochman. Love him.
Yeah, there you go.
He was awesome.
But I mean, I think you're right on to something there, Johnny. Really, I think this is a pathetic attempt by a once proud magazine, I guess you could say, back in the day.
Or never proud.
I guess not, no.
I would say Sports Illustrated was at one point kind of the go-to,
absolutely was. In the 80s, absolutely in the 80s, but...
Yeah, in the 80s.
I mean, they've had iconic cover photos, the Twins winning the World Series against the Braves in that thrilling Game 7, 1-0. Yeah. There was an iconic cover there. Yeah. They had their moments, but you're right. It has fallen far.
So far. Yeah. And the fact that they're just now, I mean, with AI, and it was really funny. It's like we were even looking at that article. There was like one for an Asian woman. And it was like,
all right. So here, I'll bring that here.
Yeah.
So this is another issue. Not only are they publishing this AI stuff, they are trying like hell to cover it up. So the Drew Ortiz gentleman who I read about earlier in this topic, he disappeared at one point from the website. And
he got lost in the woods apparently.
He got lost in the woods, and his profile page was redirected to that of a Sora Tanaka. No record of her being a writer or being on staff by that name.
Oh, gosh.
But her profile picture was also for sale on the same AI headshot marketplace, where she's listed as, quote, joyful Asian young adult female with long brown hair and brown eyes. Sora has always been a fitness guru and loves to try different foods and drinks. Miss Tanaka is thrilled to bring her fitness and nutritional expertise to the product reviews team and promises to bring you nothing but the best of the best. And apparently she also disappeared, replaced by another profile that carried a headshot, which SI deleted after Futurism, the writer of this article, reached out to them to say, what the hell?
Closely is what Matt tried to say. The balloon does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground at this time. The balloon is currently traveling at altitude well above commercial air traffic. Well, that's nice to know. How come we don't shoot the damn thing down since it came over our airspace? The Canadian Department of National Defense, Canadian Armed Forces, are working with NORAD to assess the situation. Canada is, quote, taking steps to ensure the security of its airspace, including the monitoring of a potential second incident. That's nice to know. Apparently, Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, was going to fly over to Beijing, talk to Xi Jinping over there. That's since been canceled because of this balloon. Steve, I want to get your thoughts on this. We get criticized for, our airspace. Now, all of a sudden, we got this balloon. What do you got?
I'm sorry, but as you were reading that, talking about balloons, I'm picturing the Joker. He stole my balloons!
Why did someone tell me he had one of those things?
All right, before I ask Bob for his gun, by the way, before we started, I just was checking again. It seems that another one of these was detected over Latin America.
Yeah.
But also since the article we discussed on Thursday, you're right. China has confirmed it's theirs.
Yep.
But
went off course still.
It was a civilian weather balloon that went off course.
Really?
That just goes to show you how stupid their government thinks we all are.
Yeah.
We would believe that. Like a weather balloon, you put up a weather balloon and it's halfway across the world and it blew off course. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Don't buy it.
No. And to our military's credit, their response was like, no, it's a recording.
Now, Biden will not shoot this thing down because of the civilian population. And,
that's also stupid because it was
is
over
the dumbest
Montana.
statement I've ever heard.
Like 5 people live in Montana. Why? There's plenty of open space in Montana for you to bring this down, and it's a balloon.
Yeah,
it's a balloon.
And by the time they were talking about it, it was over one of the missile silos that it was looking at. So,
yeah,
you might be able to just drop it there.
Yeah. You might shoot this thing down and find out what the hell there is carrying this thing over 60,000 feet. That's my question.
The rationale, the more detailed rationale, as I've had it explained to me now, is the threat to people on the ground to shooting it down is not outweighed by the intelligence they could possibly be getting from this balloon. Because the theory is they could get, it's not really much better than they could do with the spy satellites that are up in orbit anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like the balloons getting them any extra sensitive stuff, but I don't know. I would still want to shoot it down. And the plan apparently now is Biden wants to shoot it down once it's over the Atlantic. Once it's already got all our state secrets and stuff.
Yeah. That's the thing that's frustrating.
This guy.
It's
a balloon.
I know.
But it's transmitting, so they're already getting the information. So why not shoot it down earlier than later? I totally don't understand that concept. Like, of course it's going to get to the Atlantic. Of course it will shoot it down, but it's not like it's
it's not like it's flying back and gonna hand. Oh, here's all the stuff we wrote for you. Like they already have it. Like the fact that you're gonna let it fly anywhere else is just ridiculous.
In one of the I guess you could say chilling quotes by the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesman Mao Ning said this, quote, "I want to stress that before it becomes clear what happened, any deliberate speculation or hyping up will not help. The Chinese side is gathering the facts and hopes all sides will handle this matter in a cool-headed manner. We act in accordance with international law." Really?
They're communists. They do not follow international law.
They don't follow. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
They're communists.
Yes.
Let's do an experiment and send a balloon over Chinese airspace and let's see how
what
cool
happens.
and rational they behave.
Yeah.
Steve, I bet you dollars to donuts it doesn't get off the boat.
Whatever the hell.
Oh,
that
so
is.
it's not the U.S. Oh, wow, I thought it was USA Today for some reason. I don't know.
No, it was U.S. Sun. That was the link I got anyway.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Phillies fan tries to bring 5-foot alligator into Pirates game for emotional support, but Wally is denied entry.
That's good.
It's a shame. This happened the night after I went to the Phillies, so I wish I could have
been
there to see
great.
this.
If you had a selfie with the emotional support alligator, that'd be so perfect.
Yeah, so ahead of their Wednesday night matchup against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Citizens Bank Park, one fan rocked up to the stadium with a scaly friend. The animal in question was an alligator, as tweeted by Howard Eskin of Sports Radio 94 WIP. The fan reportedly said the gator was a service animal. And as it turns out, they were telling the truth. The creature in question is named Wally, and according to their TikTok bio, they are a licensed emotional support animal. Wally turned up at the ballpark in a custom-made harness with a lead that read emotional support animal. He is owned by Pennsylvania resident Joie. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. Joy, who requires the support as he battles depression, as per the Philadelphia Inquirer. In fact, Henny has previously told the outlet that Wally likes to give hugs. All right, I'm now going to sit back and enjoy the John Tracy show.
Thank you for this. This has nothing to do with this man or his alligator. I love alligators. It's my spirit animal. I have no problem with alligators, crocodiles. I love all four-legged reptiles that eat things all the time. They're great.
Including humans?
Yeah, I don't care. If you're that stupid to get that close to an alligator, good on you, dude. I don't care. I do not care about your life.
We're going to make a mental note right now.
They are eating machines. They are impressive in what they do, how they stalk, how they play. My issue isn't with this guy, because apparently this alligator doesn't bite. And if he wants to have an emotional sport alligator in his own home, great. I'm all for it. The problem I have with the people that filed this, how the what the hell are you doing? And what government position? What you just okayed this? Like, he came into the office with the fucking 5-foot alligator, and you were just like, all right, Wally. Oh, doesn't bite? Oh, we're not even gonna try to test that? Okay. Oh, it's for depression? This dude should have been sent to a clinic immediately. And once
not the owner.
Twice over. No, the owner. Right. The owner should have been sent.
Okay.
A couple times over, get at least 12 doctors. Then it should have been sent to Dr. Page, and then he could have okayed it. If Dr. Page said it's okay, I'm cool.
Shout out to Dr. Alex Page out there. Yeah,
exactly. He would understand what I'm saying. Like, once he signs off on it, then you can give this guy a note. But it should read, do not take this out, especially to bars or places they serve large amounts of alcohol to stupid people like Citizens Bank Park.
Good point.
Very well said.
Not touch your alligator.
There are so many things wrong with this. Good on the Phillies for saying no. I 100% agree with them.
Gentlemen, Wally is a celebrity, as it turns out. He has over 100,000 TikTok followers that follow along as he heads to events and venues to hug it out. The alligator is hugging it out with the public.
I would like to thank our China overlords
see our last
for this
segment.
app.
See our last segment.
Yeah, exactly.
Why he has
Yeah.
100,000 followers.
Yeah, exactly.
Henny previously explained he found Wally in a pond at Disney World. Yikes. As Florida does not allow gators to be rehomed elsewhere in the wild, he went home with Henny, where he reportedly lives on Cheetos and chicken legs in Joey's house. Speaking in 2022, Henny explained, "I've never met an alligator that will not bite you. You fool around with their head, their instinct is to grab you. He does not do it. You can reach in there and rub his tongue. He refuses to close his mouth. We don't know why."
Until the day
He
that
said
he
that.
does.
Yeah. He said that after suffering tragic losses in his life, Wally seemed to catch on. "I'd lay on the couch and I'd wake up and he'd be laying on my head," he said. "And I knew it was for a long period of time because I had his whole jaw print on my face."
Wow.
Henny went on to add that I'll get lonely and stuff like that, and he seems to sense that stuff, and he'll come up and give me a hug. Matt,
where to even start with this?
It hurts, doesn't it?
Whatever happened to having a dog or a cat or a rodent or a rat or
that has
or
no
a
catch, just so everybody knows. I just
I don't. Okay, guys, I like. Yeah, you're right. I don't have a pet in here. For
what you
one,
have in the past.
I have had in the past.
Absolutely.
Yes. When did this phrase "emotional support animal" first jumped onto the scene? When was that? That's my first question.
A couple years ago.
Was it during a COVID?
I think it was pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was definitely pre-COVID.
I'm sure I heard it before that, but it's got to be within at least the last 10 years.
I mean, you guys remember when I had a parakeet?
Yes.
No, I never knew you had a parakeet.
Oh, yeah. Named him Dopey because he looked like Yuri DePeter from the Philadelphia Flyers. Looked exactly like him, by the way. It was a suggestion from I was in therapy at the time. You know, talking about feelings or whatever. Young guy trying to figure it all out. It was suggested to get a pet, and I didn't want we had a dog, and I didn't get I'm not a dog person. I didn't like cats.
We know that.
Yes. I've later become a dog person, but I was not back then. And I didn't like cats because I was allergic to them, so I couldn't really what was I going to do? Hug it and sneeze? Like, that would just been terrible. So I went to the pet store and I was like, bird will be fun. So I got a parakeet, and it does work when you have a relationship with a pet. It absolutely works.
Oh,
it's
I can
good
understand
for
that.
you. But taking this emotional support thing and I must carry my dog everywhere because he's my emotional support. That's weird to me. That's
the problem.
That's the community. That's the psychiatric community just giving in. This is the whole thing that we talk about with the China thing. Just give in. Okay, you need this, so you need this. So now I got an emotional support mouse. And I have to take this everywhere with me. And I got an emotional support plug. And I need to take this with me. That's what we're getting to, though. That's what we're getting to.
Gotta have at least, we have a visual.
Oh, we'll have a picture and a video. Don't worry about that.
Good,
Yeah.
Around 10 a.m., Norfolk Police Division responded to a call of a man driving eastbound on 275 with a Watusi bull in his passenger's seat. The officers received a call referencing a car driving into town that had a cow in it. Okay, fair enough, said Police Captain Chad Rayman. They thought that it was going to be a calf, something small or something that would actually fit inside the vehicle. Well, the vehicle was big enough, technically, as you could see. As a result, the officers performed a traffic stop and addressed some traffic violations that were occurring with that particular situation. The occupant of the vehicle was identified as Lee Meyer of Neeli. The Watusi bull's name was Howdy Doody.
Lee was immediately pulled over by Norfolk police as they performed a routine traffic stop. The officer wrote him some warnings. Surprise, surprise. There were some citable issues with that situation.
You don't say.
The officer chose to write him a warning and ask him to take the animal back home and leave the city. Just get out. Go. Meyer and Howdy Doody are on or at least were on their way back home, and no one was hurt. It is Howdy Doody time here on Two Noobs.
Holy
John,
cow.
what the hell did you think when you first saw this thing?
He welded a cattle gate to his car.
Oh, love it. Love it. Oh my gosh.
This definitely had a and maybe this is just because there's been a Mythbusters marathon running over the last 2 days on Science Channel, but this had a Mythbusters kind of feel to it. Like, he looks like he took a saw to his car, cut it right down the middle of the windshield and the top of the car.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how he gets the bull in there.
Yeah, that is the most important thing that we did not learn from this article.
Yeah.
Does he get him running? Does he back him in? Like, what is he?
It's got to be hell on his suspension. Matt, what was your first impression when you saw this image?
Unreal. And especially what cracked me up was them driving down the highway, which was really amazing because you see the car practically leaning on the axis on one side of it as it's driving down the road. It's not balanced at all. Like, I don't know how this car doesn't go off the road, or at least because we were looking it up. The Watsui bull, I think, was like what, 800, 900 pounds by itself? Something like that. I think on the low end, I think it was 800. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like, in typical cars, like 2,000 pounds. Top to bottom, basically 2,000. So you're heavily weighting one side of the car on one side of it. And then, Johnny's point, it's just hilarious. How the hell do you get that bull in there? Like, what do? Do you like have to back him up, and then you push him in and then back him in, and then, you got to strap the door in, and then you got to put the seatbelt over the bull. Like how does that, how does that happen? How does that do? I don't know, but
thank God it was a newer car. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that being a newer car and the annoyance of that seatbelt beep that just never stopped as you're driving?
Ding,
I
ding.
actually think the weight of that bull probably would have destroyed the sensor, so it probably wouldn't have been an issue.
That airbag was not on.
No.
It's please God, don't make me deploy. Please God, don't make me deploy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just gonna deploy into a horn anyway, so it was just gonna be like boom.
So I have a little story time to share with you guys back in the day before I met you guys. And I don't think I've ever told you this story. I did not. But probably the more stranger thing that I've ever. No, go ahead, John. What were you going to say, Matt's what?
No. I was just joking. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So who's ready for story time, right? So before I met you guys, my dad, of course, being in the National Guard, got a call from one of the, let's just say, July 4th parade in Orland, Pennsylvania. And they were like, well, this is coming back. And so this was like after Desert Storm. So 1991, there was a spirit of high patriotism in the country. Sorry for those out there on the left, but there was a high patriotism. They wanted to give thanks to the troops, and they were like, how about you bring a tank down Orland? And he was like, sure. Okay, well, what you need to do is you fill this form out, blah, blah, blah. Had to get all the clearance. And so he drove an M80 tank down basically through Route 309 and all the way straight down into Orland, and then had to go through the entire Orland parade, parked it outside.
I remember seeing that now that you bring that up.
Yeah, parked outside the house.
Yeah. Oh,
and so, of course, we're driving. We're like, I think it was between Orland and back home. So we're like kind of near the Paper Mill Road area. And then we make essentially the left on the Church Road, Route 73, heading back to my place at the time. And the looks that we saw on people going like, what the heck is this? This huge, massive tank, rolling down the side. It was just incredible to see. And we were going like 40 miles an hour. I mean, we were hauling in regards to that. But yeah, it was great. Nice. But yeah, it's kind of reminded me a little bit of like, something like that. But we had police escorts. That's the deal. We had police escort the whole 9 yards, and the whole bit. So yeah, it was really fun.
Woman fired after company uses keystroke technology to monitor her work from home.
There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic, but there is some irony because of her job position previous to being fired, as you'll hear in a minute.
Oh boy.
A major insurance company used keystroke technology on an employee's work laptop to test whether she was working her designated hours, and it ended terribly for her. The Fair Work Commission, or FWC, has rejected an unfair dismissal application brought by former Insurance Australia Group consultant Susie Chayco, finding she was fired for a valid reason of misconduct. According to the Commission's published finding, Chayco was responsible for creating insurance documents, meeting regulatory timelines, and monitoring work-from-home compliance, among other significant roles.
Wow. Oh,
ironically, her own work-from-home performance marks the end of her 18-year career with the company. She was subject to a detailed review of cyber activity, which analyzed the number of times she physically pressed her keyboard on 49 working days from October to December. The review found she did not work her rostered hours for 44 days, started late on 47 days, finished early on 29 days, and performed 0 hours of work on 4 days.
Wow.
On the days she did log in, she had very low keystroke activity and recorded 0 strokes over 117 hours in October, 143 hours in November, and 60 hours in December. She averaged 54 strokes per hour over the duration of her surveillance, which showed she was not presenting for work and performing work as required. John, you weren't here the last time we went on 1984 with France.
Yes.
Sounds like this woman wasn't doing her job, but are you okay with how they figured that out?
Yes, because it's a work laptop.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want on their work laptop.
All right, topic 3.
And this is excessive. Like, this is the reason I picked this story was because of how excessive it is. Like, we talk about the work-life balance, we talk about homework, we talk about all this. This is something simple. Like, I don't feel bad for her one bit. Yeah. She did nothing, according to the data, like nothing. And she was in charge of people that were probably doing less than she was doing.
Can you imagine? I mean, my God, that's unbelievable. That's that part of the story. Yeah.
Like, I don't like if companies are monitoring you, but I understand that there is a lazy part of this world and you do have to monitor people. I don't like that I have a camera in my truck that faces out and faces towards my face. My work truck. But guess what? It isn't my truck. I signed on. You know what I mean? I gotta do what I gotta do. If I was a douchebag, if I was a manager of a douchebag that was driving that truck, guess what? I'd be happy that camera was there.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to get rid of people in a society where it's really hard to fire people.
Yeah. Especially with,
so, but I don't hate it. It's an icky feeling, but
yeah,
I kind of get it. You gotta save your own ass.
Yeah, and the spying of it too, Johnny. I think if I'm reading between the lines with you, it's kind of just like, well, okay, they spied on her with her keystrokes, that kind of a deal. But again, if you're a company and you're coming back from the pandemic, everybody's online, and if it's tied to her productivity, which it sounds like from this review,
it absolutely was tied to her productivity. So
I mean, you have to, as a company, defend yourself against somebody that's not productive. I remember when I was working for Comcast, my very first job coming out of college, everything was all about the wrap-up button in the call center. Depending on how long you were, the wrap-up time was basically so that you could take a note on a particular customer over, what transpired over the call, entered it, and then you were off wrap-up time. And if you were on wrap-up for more than 2.5 or 3 minutes, all of a sudden someone would come over to your desk. Everything all right? Everything good? You need to be back on the queue, that kind of a deal. So it was their form of saying, like, this is tied to your performance. You got to get back on the phone lines as quickly as you can. That wasn't all that great. You got to be available, right? Because you got customers calling in and they're complaining about their cell phone bills, whatever the case may be. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of that a little bit in that regard. But yeah, I mean,
so what you're saying is this is not far off from what was happening in the office anyway.
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, it's tied to the productivity of the woman. And I mean, good luck now trying to find a job because your news story was plastered in one of the biggest, right? One of the biggest newspapers in the entire country. So now all of a sudden you got to dig yourself out of the hole that you dug yourself into. Good luck. I mean, that's going to be brutal.
Well, I mean, good luck finding another job that's going to let you work from home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I certainly, as an employer, would not be thrilled to see why you were dispatched from your previous job, especially though it's plastered all over the post.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I certainly keystroke logging is less intrusive to me. I'm glad it's not like, well, we've got a camera on you.
Yeah.
On you in your house. That to me would be creep factor number one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that's not kind of an option. Keystroke. I'm not a big fan of it because I do think, and we've dealt with this on our side. There does have to be some kind of trust level with your employees.
Yes, absolutely.
But if maybe they did it because they've had people just not working. I mean, the law is a little bit self-policing because you have to get stuff done that gets filed and submitted. So, you see productivity happening. And if it's not happening, then there's a question as to what's going on. It's not like you need to see somebody doing the Homer Simpson bird.
Why?
Yeah. But,
well, and that's all tied to productivity, and it's tied to financial performance. You think about it from a company-wide perspective. They set budgets based on what the cost is going to be and how we're going to meet that cost or exceed it to get a profit. Right? So that's all based on productivity. That's everybody on board for the entire year. You get rid of those that aren't as productive. You bring in people that are more than productive to be able to try and balance that out. This is a company that was probably looking at it and saying like, okay, we're seeing the metrics of this person's output way down. We got to figure out why. And if she's not being upfront and honest of what is actually going on in her life, like that's where that investigation proved fruitful, unfortunately for her.
Well, here's what she had to say in the article.
Here we go.
In a formal meeting about the review, Chaco said that she did not believe for a minute the data was true, but showed no evidence that she'd been online and working when the report showed she hadn't. So she didn't have any contrary evidence.
Yeah.
Sometimes the workload is a bit slow, but I have never not worked, she told her managers, according to the FWC finding. I mean, I may go to the shops from time to time.
All the time.
But that is not for the entire day.
No, of course
not. That sounds BS.
Yeah.
In a
that just
written
smells
response,
of BS.
Yeah, it does.
In a written response, Chaco said she looked at the data to seek an explanation for the missing hours, but really can't recall why or how it's that low. FWC Deputy President Thomas Roberts ruled the evidence showed Chaco was not working as she was required to do during her designated working hours while monitored.
Yep.
He found Chaco could not provide a credible explanation for the data to her employers or throughout the FWC proceedings. And so he was satisfied the dismissal of the applicant was not harsh, unjust, or unreasonable.
Yeah.
John, she goes to the shops just from time to time.
Time to time. I take an hour and 50-minute lunch, only on Wednesdays. I've seen
my
it.
90-day return policy of my, my
I've seen it. I've seen it all. I've seen it all in the business that I'm in. I've literally seen it all. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean they worried about what I did, bro? You did nothing like Monday and Tuesday. You don't think the manager's gonna like look at you like you did nothing? Like when you go to work, I don't know about you guys, but I have this weird thing. Like when I go to work, I work. And when I'm done, I'm done. And it's this magical thing. And then this paycheck comes at the end of the week. And
fantastic. Yeah.
there's no bullshit in between that. Like, because why should there be bullshit? I'm calling BS on everything that she's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sure sometimes you have to go to doctor's appointments because it's hard to get those on weekends or after hours. But usually when that happens, you tell someone
yes,
that's where you're going to be.
Even if you don't tell your employer, before, which is common courtesy to do. Hey, I'm going to take Monday off because I got to go to the doctor or whatever, right?
Yep.
Even if you don't, a doctor's note could cover that on a Tuesday. Be like, hey, sorry I wasn't in yesterday. Here's my doctor's note. I was under the care of a physician. I didn't want to call. You could be a day late and it still is covered. She wasn't like calling any I went to the shops occasionally. Come on, dude. Like, so you weren't even being productive. Like, you weren't even productive in your own life. You were spending your own money.
Here's the thing about that. I wouldn't actually even be that bothered if it was a job where, as long as she got her 8 hours in during the day,
100%.
Like, okay, you need to go to the shops at 11 o'clock because you need to do something. You got to get something.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
That means instead of ending at 5, you end at 6 because you lost an hour here, so you're tacking it on.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, fine, but it doesn't sound like that was the kind of job she was working.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Good.
No.
Johnny, what were you gonna say?
It's just not reality. Like if you take a lunch when Steve, let's say you have a case and you're working it, you're going to work it for 8-9 hours, right? And you're like, oh, well, I want to go get a cheesesteak, right? You're not like deducting the 45 minutes it took you to get the cheesesteak against the time that you were working. You were like, oh, well, I went and got a cheesesteak. I'm gonna make that up and I'm gonna finish it like 7 or 8 o'clock at night because it is what it is.
Yeah.
Same way with my job. Like if I stop and eat, I still got to finish the job. Like I can't like, hey guys, I got to stop because I had to eat or I had to go buy a marker because I didn't have one. So I'm going to deduct that time from the company. No, you finished the job and you get home late. She was not doing that.
Accountability is a huge factor, gents, as you guys know. And I mean, that's exactly what this woman right now is suffering from. And she definitely needs, this was a definite like act on the company's behalf to basically hold her accountable for the lack of her productivity. Bottom line. And when you do that and when you come with all kinds of excuses, well, I was just only going to go out to the shops every once in a while. That's problem number one. I mean, that's like, are you kidding me? Where's your focus? Where's your attention? I mean, if your job sucks, your job sucks, and I get it. But at the same time, you got to put that to the back burner. 100%. You got to put that to the back burner and just focus, get your stuff done.
As much as the keystroke logging, tracking kind of skews me out, it's people like this that make it necessary.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's the problem.
Yes.
Headline from Gizmodo.com, gents. Ford Motor tries to patent a dystopian future where self-driving cars repossess themselves. How about that?
Yes.
Love it. Car companies often talk about autonomous vehicles as an avenue towards increased freedom, enabling more people to get access to roadways, giving drivers back their time and attention. Really? Okay. But at least one auto giant is considering alternate and darker uses of still elusive self-driving technology. So apparently, reading this article, they filed a U.S. patent last Thursday. I think it was last Thursday. Yeah, February 23rd is the date of the patent.
Oh, it published.
It published. Okay.
They filed it a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago. Yeah. Okay. The patent titled, quote, "Systems and Methods to Repossess a Vehicle." I love this. Hasn't been officially granted yet, but it is nonetheless an unsettling peek into an alternative universe where private companies have even more of a say over our day-to-day lives. So this is very interesting here. In the automaker's dystopian proposed and patented version of reality, a couple of skipped car payments would trigger a cycle of in-car consequences, or what Ford is deeming a, quote, multi-step repossession procedure, end quote, as it's called in the document. First, if an owner falls behind on their loan, they would get a notice of delinquency. It would be sent through their infotainment system screen. So it would pop up on screen, hey, you idiot, pay the bill. You're behind, that kind of a deal.
And it pops up over your GPS map while you're driving. So
Exactly. Yeah, it just like flashes on screen, that kind of deal. If the driver fails to respond to that notice, a second one gets prompted. So you get a second message that pops up on your screen. Then, and this is from the Gizmodo piece, guys, your Ford personal vehicle would slowly transform into a version of hell. Love this. So they basically propose varied early punishments for delinquent car owners, which I'm going to read about a little bit later on. But I wanted to get Steve, our resident patent lawyer and legal expert on this one. Steve, your thoughts. Is this potentially possible that a car could essentially self-drive itself back to the dealership due to delinquency because it's from the owner?
Well, let me put on my Adam Gase face right here. Well, my stature as a patent attorney has no impact on, making a comment on whether or not it's possible for a car to drive itself back to a lot. I can use my expertise to tell you that they filed a patent application. It is being examined. It has been rejected once, as is normal for many patent applications. But Ford has responded, so this will be ongoing, and you can obtain patents even if you are not making a product. So even if Ford doesn't roll out this weird idea,
they can still have the patent.
Driving themselves. They can still have the patent and prevent others from doing the same. So that's good. But this article reminded me of like a few months ago when we were talking about was it BMW?
Yeah.
Where you had to
seats.
pay for like features. This is just more control by the car companies that seems like it's not headed down the right path, I'll say. And as I'm picturing a car driving itself back to the dealer, I think of Benny the taxi from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh, can you believe this joke owner? He wouldn't pay for me, so now I got to drive myself all the way back to the Ford dealership. All the way back. 2 blocks I'm here. What a dink. Didn't pay his bills.
Love it. This is probably the clinch of the article, which all got us absolutely laughing on this one. The company, Ford, proposes varied early punishments for delinquent car owners. So you get the 2 warnings, right? Essentially what happens, you get that 3rd warning. A vehicle could then disable its own air conditioning, automated key, GPS, or music system. And another idea Ford would float out there in the patent filing is, quote, activating an audio component in the vehicle to emit an incessant and unpleasant sound every time the owner is present in the vehicle. Either that or very, very loud honking. Which is unbelievable. The horrible noise and or minimized functionality and comfort doesn't entice a car owner to cough up the money. The repo process would then progress to locking a driver out of their vehicle. Essentially, they would just get out of the car because of this loud noise. And then the doors would lock and you would not be able to get inside the vehicle at that point. Ford notes that this lockout condition could be variably enforced, potentially allowing people to access their vehicles in a medical emergency or still get back and forth to work by only restricting travel outside of certain zones and times in that regard. And of course, that doesn't work. The lockout doesn't work. Then it drives itself back to the dealership or to a local one that's close by. Johnny, your thoughts on this one? This is just so hilarious. What do you think?
Every single thing you mentioned, other than disabling the car key and driving back, is just people having fun at work. There's no reason for any of it. Like that stuff written down in a document it's ludicrous. Like, why would you go through those steps? You have the technology for it to drive back. It's the same thing as cable or a cell phone. You miss a payment, you get a notice. You miss another payment, you get a notice. You miss the third payment, you don't have service anymore.
Exactly.
I don't understand this ridiculousness of the air conditioner. Why are you allowing this person in the car anymore? If they signed a document that says they are going to pay $200 a month, and they paid $200 a month, they get access to their car because it's not your car. It's a car loan. The loan, it's not your car until the loan is paid off. So if you're signing a document that's saying, I'll pay this amount of money. So you pay $200 and you don't pay $200. You don't pay $200. Why wouldn't it just be like a cell phone and just lock its doors and leave?
Oh boy, yes, we do.
This was all John's idea. He may try to pass this off as it was me, but he came up with this completely on his own.
I want to say, just for the lawyers of Two Noobs Talking, I have absolutely nothing to do with this at all.
That's all a lie. We were all involved. After we saw the debauchery of this, we all jumped in and said we need to show everybody.
Well, yes, I think as a public service announcement, we need to make people aware that if you're going to design a logo for your company,
oh, please, yes.
Please be very diligent and careful with how you do it.
Please.
Because the results can be disastrous. And so John is in the middle to explain this very bizarre tournament that we have going on here today at Two Noobs. John, speak.
Yes. So we have compiled 8 of the some gross, some just bad, some terribly misspaced, some that we don't understand government agencies, and some sexual innuendos, and a satellite dish that looks like he took too much Viagra. So we are going to we're going to pose these pictures to Steve and Matt, and they will pick the winner, which is the least offensive one, and then the loser, the one that they do not pick, will move on because it's the dreck of society, and we want to hash out to be the worst of the worst and shame them at the end of this episode.
This is the toilet bowl. This is the toilet bowl.
Yeah, it's a losers tournament. Yeah, losers tournament only. Yep.
So get it started. We'll go over to Steve, and we're gonna go with the good one. We're gonna go with satellite dish with too much Viagra, taking on weird dental patient procedure.
Oh no! Oh my gosh!
Oh boy!
And as you guys can see on the screen, this is interesting.
So the dental one, it seems to me all it would take would be a couple additional lines, and this could have been fixed.
A chair, maybe.
A chair in there. Maybe the chair obscures the lower half of the dentist peering in the mouth there. And you'd figure dentists are smart. They could immediately see the problem.
You think.
It boggles my mind that there are people out there who have jobs in logo design.
Yes.
Who, we look at this and we immediately see the problem.
Yeah.
And somehow they didn't.
It doesn't make any sense.
And this probably got through like 3 layers of bureaucracy.
Thinking, it's no problem. No problem at all.
I would think.
This got through 3 layers of bureaucracy. So at least 3 people probably looked at this and was like, yep, approved.
Oh, good. Yeah.
The satellite dish one, the look on the satellite dish's face gives me an impression that there was some sort of intention behind this one.
I would hope it would be intention, because
I think he may be intentionally naughty here. He's just a little too happy. And so
of the two,
I'm gonna. So the loser moves on.
The loser moves on here. Yeah.
I'm going to have the satellite be the winner.
Okay.
Because again, I think there was an intent behind that.
Okay.
I could see where you could screw up a satellite dish in this way, but again, the face just gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
And somebody was, messing around. The dental one looks like somebody actually tried and
So dental is moving on.
There you go.
Okay, so for Matt, here we're gonna go with we know you're a stickler for from Good Type and you write very well. We're gonna go with Massage the Rapist.
Oh my.
Because they
if you're gonna do it, you got to do it in the Sean Connery voice. The Massage the Rapist for 600, Alex. That's therapist.
When I saw this, I'm like, dude, you couldn't have.
Yeah.
You knew your letter size. You couldn't just draw the square and make sure that it all stayed in. So that one is going against the one that you sent us, Matt. Bad Air.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Again, to Steve's point with the satellite dish, Bad Air seems intentional.
I would tend to agree with you, Johnny. Just what you said, you're right. I mean, it does look like there is definite intent, whereas you look at the Massage the Rapist, it doesn't look like there was intent. There was an actual mistake that was made. That kind of a deal, but it still went through. It still got the green light.
Well, the weird creepy hand at the top doesn't help it.
No.
I also just noticed that, and I don't think the space in between the and rapist had much to do with it, but the therapist underneath is also kind of off-centered.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they didn't do a very good job with alignment at all with this thing.
No.
Both are offensive. Both are, for sure. The Bad Air one, though, you can laugh at because that's hilarious, right? So I think in that regard, it's less offensive than the massage, the massage therapist sign. So I'm going to go Bad Air wins, but massage therapist will move on.
So massage moves on. Got it.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking theory emerges about what really killed the dinosaurs. It sounded, from the headline, I was like, "Whoa, this is heavy. This is big time stuff." We're going to have to sit down
for this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Enough with the sit down.
I'm sorry. You should stand up.
We gotta stand up for this one. So I read the headline. I'm like, "Oh man, this is going to be interesting. They've got something new. It wasn't an asteroid. What the?" All right, so a new study looking into what might have killed off dinosaurs determined it is likely the ancient species were done in by a mighty cloud of dust.
Okay. Interesting.
We already knew that.
Cloud of dust.
We already knew that. A massive plume of fine-grained dust may have lingered in Earth's atmosphere for 15 years, cooled the temperature by 24 degrees, and shut down photosynthesis for 2 years, according to the results of a study published in Natural Geoscience. In a Washington Post report that described the aftermath of the impact of the asteroid as an apocalyptic dust plume.
There you go.
Planetary scientist Semberk Senel explained that the impact of the asteroid led to a chain of events that ultimately caused the demise of the dinosaurs. Duh. Dust could shut down photosynthesis for such a long time that it could pose severe challenges. He told the Washington Post. It could result in a chain reaction of extinction to all species in the food chain. I was already under the impression that when the asteroid hit, it kicked up a bunch of dust and blocked out the sun for a while and killed the dinosaurs that way.
Steve, just so you know.
What am I missing here?
Yeah, Steve, just so you know, water is wet. I just wanted you to know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
You weren't kidding. Oh, God. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how it's a groundbreaking study like that. I mean, that has been a long-standing theory for as long as I've been alive. I think that was one of the things that we were first taught when we were in school, in science class. There were dinosaurs. They all died off. This is the reason why they think this happened. It was because of an asteroid hitting the Earth and all the big cloud of smoke and everything. Fine particles of dust and all sorts of other soot and particles leapt into the atmosphere, causing a huge greenhouse gas effect, and it pretty much dissipated and slowed down, and the dinosaurs all died. But it's good to know that they ran a computer simulation in regards to this. That's the most important thing. You can't go wrong with computer simulating things going on there. But yeah, wow. I don't know. I guess my confusion is, how do they think it's groundbreaking?
Yeah. To me, you say it was groundbreaking because, well, it turned out it wasn't an asteroid. There was a super volcano that erupted, and that's what really did it, or you changed the theory somehow. This seems to me, it was the original theory was the asteroid. We all know the asteroid itself didn't incinerate all the dinosaurs, because then everything would have been incinerated and you wouldn't have had any life whatsoever. So the asteroid hit, it kicked up a bunch of dust, and you covered the Earth in dust, and so the food sources all died out, and you lost the dinosaurs that way.
Yeah, and
that's the way it. But the groundbreaking part of it seems to be now, well, it wasn't just any dust. It was a fine particle dust.
If only they had a shark air purifier, you know.
Adults should never, ever put this on a hot dog. Grow up, experts say.
Whoa.
Okay, piss off.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing we need to talk about.
That's the first thing to say. And now to the article. Slathering a Frankfurter in a layer of cool, tangy ketchup is a foodie faux pas for folks 18 and over, according to, get this, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, which argues that the condiment is strictly for kids. In fact, the top dog of the organization says dressing a wiener with ketchup is, well, kind of weenie. If you can vote, it's time for your taste buds to vote for a hot dog without ketchup, NHDSC President Eric Mittenthal told the Post.
Wow.
Mark Rosen.
He just wanted to use a quote so he could say the word wiener without having to say the word
I didn't
wiener.
realize there was a National Hot Dog and Sausage Council.
I don't think anybody did, nor do I think one should exist to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares.
My question is, do they have monthly meetings? Like, where's the newsletter? What's going on over here?
And
I think they like the word wiener, though.
Probably. They work with them every day. And frankly, such a council should not be giving me advice on what to put on my hot dog. But
agreed.
Yes.
Mark Rosen, vice president of marketing for Sabret, the official hot dog of Madison Square Garden, he told the Post that in the dog-eat-dog world, there's absolutely no shame in putting ketchup on a hot dog. We don't see too many adults doing it anymore, said Rosen, but if they do, it's totally fine. But Mittenthal, who also works as the chief strategy officer at the North American Meat Institute. All right, get a real job, dude.
Oh my God.
This dude is... Wow.
Oh,
John's speechless.
This dude is literally... He's the Eric Swalwell of hot dogs.
Oh,
how many more
my
names does he have on his?
Wow.
Does he just line them up?
Well, Meat Man has long been adamant that ketchup and hot dogs don't mix. He voiced his disdain. That's DISDAIN, by the way, New York Post. Spell check. Yep. For the tomato-based sauce in a 2021 press statement saying, no matter how you top it, Any hot dog is delicious. Well, except for hot dogs with ketchup. He added, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council Etiquette Guide says only children should eat their hot dogs with ketchup. John, wipe the tears from
stickers in a coloring book.
It ought to. It ought to.
Seriously. Yeah.
What do you, John? What do you think? What do you think of this clown organization telling us how to eat a hot dog?
This dude needs to shut up. Like, for a really long time in my life, I felt like a loser until now. Jesus.
That's not true, Johnny. Stop it.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a part of two organizations that are full of complete shit. I love sausage. I love hot dogs. I love cured meat. I'm a big fan. I did not know there were these kind of rules when I joined these organizations. When I decided that I liked hot dogs, I did not know that I was bowing to this guy. Apparently, that I can't put. I'll just give up. I won't put ketchup on a hot dog.
It's in the fine print when you buy the ballpark franks. It says, by opening this package, you agree to abide by the rules of the National Asshole Institute for Sausage and Hot Dog Administration.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, better rules than the MLB.
Yeah, Johnny, I will say this. You're not a loser. You could be the chief strategy officer at the North American Meat Institute. Okay, that's pretty much a loser.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I could get that job if I...
Fastball.
I mean, I eat meat. I could probably qualify.
Yeah. Chief strategy officer. That my question is, how much do they get paid? You know, what do they strategize about with hot dogs?
It's got to be free.
Meat! Throw meat at people.
They do exactly what I want to do at the next hot dog thing. They throw meat at people.
See, it all comes full circle.
There you go.
Sadly, some idiots agree with this idiot. Ketchup is for kids, not adults, insisted content creator, okay, get a real job, Jim Florentine, in a saucy snippet. Get over it. Ketchup is liquid sugar and chemicals. Influencer, Uncle Gabe, echoed similar sentiments to his over 1 million followers. That's why are you following this idiot? He says in part, I'm eating a hot dog without ketchup because I'm not an idiot. Yes, you are an idiot. And I don't even put ketchup on hot dogs and you're an idiot.
No, neither do I.
But link lovers across the nation seem to disagree. A May 2021 survey by the NHDSC BGTA 3975 National Meat Institute of Knuckleheads found that 61% of Americans enjoy smothering their hot dogs with a few healthy squeezes of ketchup. The Crimson Goop ranked second among hot dog enhancers, outperforming relish, chili, and cheese in the poll. It closely trailed mustard, which reigned supreme as the countrywide favorite. Matt, do you slather ketchup on your weenie? Yay or nay?
Oh my.
Regroup.
I don't know how to answer that question, Steve.
I think I might have to check out.
Yeah, I might have to check out. Good night, everybody. No, I'm kidding. I've gone back and forth between the two gentlemen, to be perfectly honest. I don't care what a chief strategy officer says, what I should and shouldn't do to a hot dog. First of all, it's my hot dog. I'll eat it any damn way I want it to.
Damn straight.
You know, in that regard, sometimes, like for me,
America,
there's cheese in there, a little bit of bacon, possibly, a little bit of relish I'll throw in there, right? Got a little mustard, and hell yeah, I'm putting ketchup on it. I'm not a child. I know that, but it's like, I like all those flavors on my hot dog. I want to have a little bit of flavor with it. Nothing wrong with that in that regard. It's amazing that they say it qualifies for kids, but the moment you turn 18, you got to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? Like, seriously. Like,
I take offense to that one because I again, full disclosure, I eat my hot dog completely bare, so I just in the raw.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy ketchup on other things like chicken, burgers. I'll even put it on steak if it's available. So screw you guys.
There you go. That's bold.
So,
Yeah, bold.
and I'm an over 40 ranting individual. I am not a child. I just happen to like ketchup. So screw you. I'm not a child. But somebody needs somebody to tell them something.
Yes.
According to this Today article, roll your eyes, gentlemen. Mom is upset and appalled after water park told her to stop breastfeeding in Lazy River.
Wow.
Yikes.
A Georgia mom is appalled after water park employees said she couldn't breastfeed in a pool.
Key sentence.
In.
In a pool. Go on.
1 second. I have never in my years of being a breastfeeding mother had one single negative comment made to me about breastfeeding while out in public. But today was a different day. Tiffany Francis, a mother of two, wrote in a July 14th Facebook post.
Because of course she did.
Of course she did. Francis explained that she had gone to Rigby's Water World, a Kevin Costner an aquatic park in Warner Robins with her 11-month-old son and 4-year-old daughter. Before the son's nap, they entered a lazy river so Francis could nurse while they floated in an inner tube, as she often did at Rigby's. Yikes. According to Francis, a lifeguard approached her and said, "Ma'am, you can't breastfeed in the lazy river." Let's see. Of course, there was nothing stating anything about children except for that babies need to wear swim diapers, which he was, she wrote. Francis said she asked to speak to a manager who told her, "No food or drinks in the water." I'm just so upset and appalled and wanted to give a heads up to all the other moms out there that this is how breastfeeding moms are treated at Rigby's Water World. Francis cited Georgia law, which allows a mother to breastfeed her baby in any location where the mother and baby are otherwise authorized to be. I'm not sure who I want to go to first on this.
Well, before we're going to be accused of being sexist on this podcast.
Yes, let's make that absolutely clear up front. I don't think any of us has any problem if this woman was just simply breastfeeding a child.
Yes.
Somewhere there.
In 99.9% of the park.
Exactly.
Totally fine.
The problem that we have is that with the first sentence, she couldn't breastfeed in a pool, community pool, mind you.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Lazy river where people are constantly drifting down that pool. Exactly. I know you each had something different you guys wanted to bring up with respect to this article. So I guess, Matt, I'll go to you first.
Yeah. Well, first, I guess a two-pronged approach. One would be why she had to brag about this on Facebook. Why? It's a private thing. Like, what are you doing? Ripping the company over your breastfeeding calamity, with this. This is ridiculous. Sorry to say. Some things you need to keep to yourself and some things you need to keep to the water park. You don't need to talk about your awful experience not being able to breastfeed in a pool. I'm sorry. Like, grow up, honestly. And then two was, the trip, remember I had with the Netherlands guys. I've talked about this on the podcast, right? Where I had a woman sitting right next to me and with a 6-month-old basically, and she had to breastfeed 7 hours overseas, absolutely. Right? There's nothing you could do. What is she? She has a shawl. She pulls herself, basically covers herself, allows for the baby to breastfeed essentially in privacy. That's what we're talking about here more than anything else. No one's taken a look, in other words, in that regard. So
to me, that's not even the issue here. The issue here is on that flight, whether she had a shawl or not, you weren't sharing the same liquids
Yes.
with each other.
Yes.
That could be risk of contamination by bodily fluids.
Yeah.
John, your initial thoughts here.
Yeah, I'm blown away by it. I'm really blown away by it because sitting on a bench, goes to her car, sits in, an area anywhere, like not on a roller coaster because baby shouldn't be on a roller coaster, but I'm not saying there, but I'm saying anywhere in a amusement park. I would assume that there are a billion places better than floating down the river, breastfeeding a baby. And I don't think anybody really has the problem if you were in all those areas, but just the narcissism of you didn't specifically say in your rules that I couldn't breastfeed in the river. It only said a swim diaper, and I did that. That's what made me mad. Like, just a narcissism. Like, you're better than everybody else because you just decided to do it, and you have no tact or thought process to other things that are around you, like contaminated water, or maybe there are children all over the place, and not every parent wants a 4-year-old boy to go, "What's that, mommy? Why is the booby out, mommy?" Like, they don't want to. There are conservative people out there that don't want to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And that's going to ruin their experience. So to me, it was just a narcissistic response to someone correcting this person. And then it was all, I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to ruin this park because I'm better than you. And that's what the breastfeeding, I could care less where she breastfed.
Couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less. Sorry, thank you. Appreciate that.
Disclaimer, gentlemen.
The pool is different. Properly off limits by the lifeguard. He was like, "No, you can't do it there." So you can't do it there.
Yeah. But then they come up with the law. We found out later, obviously, and it was like the Georgia law in there, and then it was like the water park eventually had to apologize to this woman.
Yeah. So Steve Brown is the vice president of operations at Rigby's Water World. He told Today.com that Rigby's revised its breastfeeding policy within hours of the incident, adding that the staff had been re-educated about the law. We had a policy in place that didn't allow breastfeeding in the river that was in line with the health department's standard on no eating or drinking in the pools, he says, adding that breastfeeding in other areas of park has always been permitted. As we said, no problem. Frances was invited to nurse on the pool deck, he says, preferably in the shade on a lounge chair, and added that she was never asked to leave the water park, departing on her own accord. But he says, we were under the impression it was a health code violation. It was a misunderstanding. It was my mistake to misinterpret the law. There are different opinions on this issue, but we want to comply with the law. And the Georgia law you're referring to, Matt, says, I believe that breastfeeding is supposed to be permitted anywhere where the mother and baby are permitted. And I guess they figured because the baby is permitted in the lazy river that breastfeeding can occur there. But I once again come back to the fact that we are all sharing a liquid, people. Chlorinated or not.
Yes.
That I would rather not have contaminated by others' bodily fluids intentionally. Now there are people, I think part of her argument was, well, there's other bodily fluids in there. People peeing. Well, if you pee in the pool intentionally, you're a douche. That doesn't make people who pee in the pool right. But it's a lot harder to tell when somebody's, well, not always, but most of the time, it's harder to tell when somebody's intentionally peeing in a pool versus somebody who's intentionally breastfeeding a child where the potential for spillage and, not just spillage, but I'm sure John has experience having had children. After you feed a child, what can happen immediately?
Vomit.
Exactly. Exactly. So you're not only risking leakage while drinking, you are risking that milk coming back up. from the baby because that's what babies do.
I would
In the pool.
But
In the freaking pool, people.
This is a parent I'm mad about. Is you're taking an 11-month-old baby and the lazy river. It's not a lazy river. You're feeding this kid and it's water. Like if I'm feeding a child, I want it to be very calm.
Exactly.
I want it to be because that's the point of feeding a child. You want them to ingest the nutrients that they need so that they are happy. Why do you want to create a burping mess that is unsettling to the baby because he's doing this? Because he can't control his head, and then the water is like.
So, John, what you're saying is everything's in motion.
Yes,
constantly.
Constantly.
He's right.
You don't at home. You don't feed your baby by throwing him in the Ferrari, give him a bottle, and drive 100 miles an hour. That's not how it works. Like, you sit down.
He's right. I mean,
I'm going to write this down right now.
Yes, it's calm.
Matt, I don't know the last time you've ever been in a lazy river, but every lazy river I've been in, it flows in one direction. Why does it flow in one direction? Because they have like waterfalls periodically that spill water into it to push it in that direction.
Absolutely.
So you have waterfalls coming down. You have, if it was a full water park, you've got kids messing around in the lazy river who are never really going to be bumping into people. I don't know why you would choose a location where kids could be jumping around you.
It doesn't
to
make
be
sense.
Breastfeeding a child. I agree with John. You should be in a calm location. Get up on a lounge chair. Relax. Take a load off.
And if anything, I think too, the privacy, the lack of it for both the son. Really, I mean, that's the thing that I worry about the most. Like, that's a very obviously intimate moment, and it should be, with all due respect to this mother, in a private setting. It really should be. It should not be flaunted in public. And I think that's the big problem that I've got with it. It's like there is just no regard. Well, what the hell? Everything goes then in that regard. And if we go down that road, that's a very slippery slope that we can't come out from. Guys, really? I mean, at the end of the day,
your biggest concern is flashing a boob versus dribble going into the pool.
There are a lot of perverts out there, Steve. You know,
I I'm not. Look. I don't have an issue with breastfeeding. It's a necessary thing. It happens. It's fine. Yeah. I do agree with you. There are people out there who are going to observe it in a very unhealthy and unnecessary and disgusting way. And so that's absolutely something you should be mindful of when you're out in public like that. But I just keep coming back to she could have done it she could have done it by the railing of the lazy pool, flashing it all out, whatever. I don't give a shit. The minute you are going in the pool where I may be accidentally ingesting water because my son accidentally kicked my head and I swallowed a gulp, and your bodily fluids are going to be in there, chlorine or not, that's where I had draw the line.
And Steve doesn't even know her name, so he's mad.
And I have to say, now, it's gone the other way. Rigby's, I'm sorry, I'm never visiting your park if you're going to allow bodily fluids to be intentionally be flaunted around the pool.
It is, just to finish on them, that is weird. That is the thing that scares me, is the
reverse course of them.
They went right the other way. So that means, Rigby, any Karen or Ken or whatever you want to call them that has an issue, what, are you going to stop serving hot dogs because a vegan went to your park and doesn't want hot dogs near their, food?
They're offended because the pig died?
And you're what are you going to throw all your hot dogs away? No more hot dogs and burgers. Like,
you can't serve hot dogs anymore because they look like penises.
Exactly. So literally, Rigby's shows me with this one move is it's the no fun zone. They're just going to comply and comply and comply until you can literally go there and they hand you a little stick. And all kids run around with a stick. They're like, look at my stick. I get to play with the stick because we can't do anything else because we've taken it all away from them.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with us here at Two Noobs Talking. We hope you enjoyed looking back on some of our favorite moments and stories from 2023, a wild year indeed. If you want more information on Two Noobs Talking, the good news is that we have a website address located at twonoobstalking.wordpress.com. Links to all our previous episodes are there, along with some short bios about terrific trio of hosts. Please feel free to leave a comment about this week's episode, as well as hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel. We would love to hear what you have to say. Have a great week. We look forward to bringing you another great episode of Two Noobs Talking in 2024. Happy New Year.